Today, this presentation examines the digital universe through the lens of communities, banking and finance, online retail and media. Let's have a look at communities. Word of mouth is not a new concept. It's been around forever. Think mothers' clubs, football clubs, church clubs. However, historically it was limited by physical interactions. Technology now brought people together in virtual environments through social networks. In these environments, word of mouth can be amplified as information can be quickly and effortlessly disseminated to friends and their friends and even strangers. However, each social network, as we know, is different. The amplification process works differently. How people behave on Twitter differs to that on LinkedIn, and differs again on Facebook, and then differs again on a smartphone. To capitalise on this social phenomena, businesses need to understand, at the very minimum, which social networks their customers use and when they use it. The vast majority of Australians use some form of social networking, and Facebook is clearly the largest. However, social networking is not just Facebook. It comes in a number of forms, as I've just mentioned. Facebook, having its beginning as a messaging and photo sharing website, has evolved into a full multimedia environment for gaming, communication, information seeking and sharing. 67% of Australians use Facebook. 16% of Australians visit Google+, which is Google's answer to Facebook, seeking to replicate many of its features whilst leveraging its large consumer base. WordPress, Twitter and YouTube are more like community publishing platforms. YouTube, with 56% of Australians, allows the publishing of video. Twitter, with 11%, allows for the publishing of text, and WordPress, with 14%, is a blogging platform for text, images and video. These mainstream social media websites are growing, particularly Google+, having grown 47%. Interestingly, however, when we look at early adopters of technology early adopters in Roy Morgan speak, Facebook seems to have reached saturation, with little growth over the last 18 months. Although online social media or social networking is now mainstream, doing it on the mobile phone is actually still relatively new, and largely the domain of early adopters. 2.3 million Australians use their mobile phone for social networking. That is 12% of Australians aged 14 plus. In fact, social networking is used only slightly less than general browsing and searching on the mobile. However, as smartphone penetration increases, all the evidence suggests social networking on the mobile phone will follow suit. At Roy Morgan, we are able to identify customers in terms of how likely and how quickly they are to adopt to different technologies, such as social media. Today, a large majority of social media users comes from the technology early adopter segment and the digital life segment. Together, these segments comprise almost half of users of these social media platforms. The digital life segment have mostly grown up with the internet, and thus are typically fast adopters of internet activities like social media. LinkedIn, a network designed for business networking, draws its greatest number of users from professional technology mainstream. They are highly career-motivated people, likely to be found in a corporate environment. They are pragmatic technology adopters in that they will adopt technology early that help them achieve their goals. Twitter, on the other hand, is still in early adopter stage, with 38% of its visitors being technology early adopters. Roy Morgan has for years researched the views of trusted advisors, those people whose opinions are sought about everything from cosmetics to health, to new cars, to where to go on holidays. Some people have always batted more in the communications game, and marketers understand that. Trusted advisors are seen as important influencers who should be engaged. When you gauge these trusted advisors on social media, the ripple effect, or multiplier, of new product launches, new offerings, new campaigns can be large. It's thus important to understand where these trusted advisors are in social media world. If you were going to launch a new credit card, trusted advisors for business or financial products are 66% more likely to be on a business networking site. If you were going to launch a new cosmetics range, trusted advisors for buying fashion and looking good are twice as likely to be on blogs. If you were going to launch a new TV, trusted advisors for entertainment and electronic products are twice as likely to be in forums. If you were to launch a new mobile phone plan, trusted advisors for mobile phones are twice as likely to be in chat rooms, such as Whirlpool. For those not engaged in social media, it's easy to see it as a homogenous thing. You couldn't be more wrong. It's like ball games, football versus cricket versus tennis versus snooker, or magazines, Dolly versus New Scientist versus BRW. As a really simple example, take the cosmetics market. MAC and Bobbi Brown have similar customers, young, affluent, optimistic. Lipsmacker has really young, look-at-me customers. Think Dolly Reader. That is no surprise that Bobbi Brown, MAC and Lipsmacker customers are online and heavily into social media. But Clarins, a more mature brand, has a majority of its customers not on Facebook, but interestingly has the same proportion using Twitter as MAC customers. Again, this emphasises the fact that it is important not only to accept that social media is part of the media mix for Australians, but to understand your customer base in terms of their social media usage. Having this knowledge allows you to maximise your investment in social media. Now we'll turn our attention to the banking and finance industry. This year, and for the first time ever, internet banking has overtaken visiting a branch and is now the second most popular channel of banking behind ATMs. Now 46% of Australians conduct their banking via the internet. Not only is the internet influencing general banking activities, it has influenced how we pay our bills, with BPay Online now the most common form of bill payments. It influences how we receive our bills. Today, 30% of Australians receive their bill via the internet. This is up 35%, whilst mail is down 4%. It's impacted how we trade shares, with almost half of share traders using the internet to trade shares. And how we obtain vehicle insurance, with nearly 15% of Australians obtaining their vehicle policy insurance by this channel. The banking and finance industry exemplifies an industry that has embraced the internet and technology and has been transformed by it. This is further illustrated by the fact that the Commonwealth Bank's website is the 12th largest website in Australia with 3.4 million visitors, ahead of the White Pages Online with 3.2 million visitors. In fact, 2 of the major banking websites are in the top 30, and all the major banks have over 2.5 million visitors in an average 4-week period. Given the fact that Australians use internet banking on an average twice a week, the bank website is more than just a place for consumers to conduct transactions. The bank website is now a direct channel for one-to-one communication en masse with the customer. It provides an instant way for banks to talk to their customers. Adoption of the smartphone for banking is still in its early stages. Only 8% of Australians have done internet banking on their mobile phone, but its growth has been massive in the last few years. Mobile internet banking has grown 333%, whereas PC banking is near maturity with only 1% growth in the last 2 years. Mobile banking, near-field transactions via the mobile phone, bill payments and other financial transactions via the mobile phone is being touted as the next big things. The smartphone as a digital wallet will surely represent a threat to credit card companies and banks. For all businesses, there are issues around infrastructure and about risk and responsibility. The banking industry is a great example of the story of mass technology adoption. We've seen banks encourage consumers to move from branches to the ATM, to phone banking, to the internet, and now to mobile. With the introduction of each new innovation, technology early adopters have led the way. Today, they are 2.5 times more likely to bank via their mobile. The challenge, however, for banks is that many of their most valuable customers are not early adopters. Typically, they are technology traditionalists or even technophobes. These people are less likely to adopt a new technology just because it's new. Rather, it needs to add real value to them. This is illustrated by the fact that only 3% of people with a net wealth of over 500,000 have ever conducted banking via their mobile phone. The question for banks, as it is for other businesses, is how to understand their most valuable customers and whether technology can help them engage better with these people. What technology, how, and importantly when. A lot of this digital decision making is about timing. Moving too late may mean the loss of customers. Moving too early, a costly investment, as the technology may be in its early suboptimal phase. I'm now going to turn our focus to online shopping and the impact the internet is having on consumer purchase behaviour in the retail environment. With over half of Australians now collectively spending online, over 22 billion last year, and with eBay attracting more visitors than the entire Westfield shopping centre, the internet as a channel of sales is clearly important. Not only is the internet an important transaction channel, it's important as consumers use it to search, seek information and compare prices as part of the path to purchase for many product categories. Over a quarter of internet shoppers say they shop in stores less often. This is a sobering fact. It means retailers must rethink their visual merchandising strategy. They must rethink their point of sale strategy and ultimately their technology investment. So how large is the online shopping market today? Many are guessing at this number. Roy Morgan has been measuring online shopping and spend for some years now. We report in the last 12 months, $22.2 billion was spent online by Australians across all categories. The major categories of expenditure are travel products, including tickets and accommodation, which is at $5.9 billion in the last 12 months, entertainment and leisure products, including tickets, music and DVDs at $3.9 billion, electronic products, including home entertainment, computers and software, $3.4 billion, fashion products, including clothing and footwear, being just under $2 billion, and food and beverages, including supermarket and alcohol, which is at $1.7 billion. There are a host of other categories that make up the online shopping spend. They include health and beauty products, which is just at under $1 billion, reading materials at $876 million, home and garden products at $662 million, and car parts and accessories, which are just over $500 million. Travel being the largest industry is worth exploring a little bit more. $5.9 billion was spent online in the last 12 months. 41% of people who went on a holiday used the internet to book. This compared to only 22% who booked via a phone call and only 17% who booked in person. 10% of the people who booked online used an exclusive online agency such as Webjet or What If, at the exclusion of a Qantas or Virgin website or Jetstar. Interestingly, in an average 4-week, Qantas's website has more visitors than the Sydney Morning Herald, with 2.5 million visitors, and Virgin Australia has 1.7 million visitors. It is important to recognise that growth, an increasing number of people spending money online, is a function of both supply and demand, the product that we are offered and the readiness of consumers to take up the product. We are increasingly seeing this in a few fast-growing categories. Fashion, which is now the 4th largest category, is growing quickly, partly driven by the women's clothing category, which is up 65% in the last 12 months. Food and beverages, the 5th largest category, is also experiencing growth, driven by the supermarket and alcohol categories. Health and beauty growth, the 7th largest category, is being driven by cosmetics, skincare and health products. Australians aren't just buying online. They are using a myriad of different online tools to educate themselves about products, services and retailers, their quality, support, availability and prices. This has implications for online retailers, but more importantly for bricks and mortar retailers. 47% of Australians research online but buy offline. 10% use a price comparison website and 11% use online catalogues. Of the 57% of Australians who shop online, they are twice as likely to use these tools. Information is being provided online by the retailer themselves in the form of price comparison websites, corporate blogs, product catalogues, their social media pages and of course their own website. They are paying for online editorial and selling things through eBay. Manufacturers too are using these tools to develop a relationship with their own customer, and companies like Mars and car manufacturers have realised this potential. Any business today that exists because its customers do not know any better, don't know their prices are too high, or the product or service are substandard will lose. There is much hype about social media and its role in the path to purchase. And as social media is a less controllable environment for retailers, it is not surprising that we're seeing a flurry of retailer activity and maybe a little sense of panic. Consumers are learning about new products and services from their friends on Facebook. They are reading prosumer blogs. They are watching products being unwrapped on YouTube. They are reading ratings and reviews from other customers. The data shows that it is still early days, with only 9% of Australians reading ratings and reviews, and only 3 posting reviews themselves. and only 1.2% of people say that they have purchased something as a direct result of Facebook. So there's time for retailers to take stock, consider their customer, especially the difference between a price-sensitive customer looking for a bargain or a high-value loyal customer who will be more appropriately engaged and personalised in an intimate program. With the introduction of the smartphone, information about prices, availabilities, ratings and so on becomes instantly available to the consumer. An example of this is when I went recently to shop for some sunglasses from a large retailer, but after checking the prices using my smartphone, I left and bought them online for half the price. These mobile tools have a profound effect for bricks and mortar stores as consumers can research within their premises. Today, 11% of smartphone owners have researched a product or service to buy via their smartphone. This may sound small, but it has more than doubled in 2 years. So it's not hard to imagine this growing substantially as more people become more familiar with the mobile internet. For retailers, it is thus important to understand the adoption and influence of the smartphone for their market, for their customer, so they can optimally influence the buying process. For Australians looking to buy a new car in the next 12 months, 37% use the internet to check prices, 39% check vehicle features and 25% locate dealers. Almost all the manufacturers are investing heavily in making their websites more appealing and easier to accomplish these tasks. The Volkswagen Polo website, aimed at the youth market, essentially allows the user to drive a Polo around a number of places to investigate vehicle features and information. Although buying a new car online is still relatively new, $552 million was spent online by Australians buying online car parts and accessories last year. Another key trend, which has been around in concept for some time, and which many people believe will happen in the not distant future, is real-time location-based marketing, using electronic coupons. This is the provision of coupons to a mobile phone that are relevant to a person's location via their GPS and to their personal needs. Analysis of the attitudes and current behaviours of smartphone users suggests that smartphone users are ready. 42% of smartphone owners often redeem coupons, and 36% of them use GPS on their phone. QR codes are another mobile phone marketing initiative that is being implemented by digital marketers. The QR code reader is like a barcode scanning system that enables the consumer to scan a QR code using their phone and retrieve a lot of information about a product or service on their phone. Today, only 7% of smartphone users have used a QR code. Only 12% of early adopters use them, but this is not surprising as not many retailers are offering this opportunity. To realise their potential, retailers should work with channels ideally placed to promote QR code use, such as magazines, catalogues and even ambient media. The industry is talking about a new battlefield for online retailers being fought on trust and service rather than price. This is not surprising, given that less than 1/3 of Australians feel comfortable giving credit card details over the internet. 2 out of 3 online shoppers prefer to buy from online retailers they know, and 20% of online shoppers only buy from Australian online stores. Australian retailers are still well placed to win this battle, with the brand trust they have established already. But the advantage will not last forever, especially considering eBay has 7.3 million visitors compared to 5.4 million Westfield shoppers in an average 4-week period. We will now turn our attention finally to the media industry. Over the last decade, we have seen the fragmentation of media across traditional and digital platforms. Publishing to hundreds, thousands and millions is now an opportunity to anyone who has an internet connection. While many newcomers remain niche, the new mass media successes include YouTube, iTunes and Spotify. Combined with the advent of smartphones, tablets and smart TVs, we are in the midst of another consumer-led media consumption shift. That is, consumers have even more choice as to when and where they consume their media. For this reason, we hear that traditional media is under threat. However, masthead readership from traditional newspapers is the highest in at least 10 years. They have been actually successful in migrating their audience online, partly by design, and clearly have attracted new audiences. The Australian, for example, our largest national paper, has grown its net audience, print and digital, by 500,000 readers in the last 10 years. The Sydney Morning Herald and The Age have grown by a massive 1 million readers. And in fact, the Sydney Morning Herald is now Australia's largest read paper, having grown to 3.3 million readers. Online publishing has extended the accessibility of eastern seaboard brands such as Sydney Morning Herald, who draw over 700,000 of their audience from outside New South Wales. This fortunately has not been at the expense of publications from minor states, who have still been able to build their masthead audience over the last 10 years. The Sunday Times net readership is up 24% to 1.1 million, and almost 20% of its readers come from outside of Western Australia. Today, consumers can choose the most convenient platform in which they wish to consume their media of choice. For instance, people who enjoy the news, some 33% of Australians get their news from a variety of digital and non-digital formats, including local community papers, major news websites, and of course newspaper apps. Interestingly, Australians who have downloaded a newspaper app spend an additional hour per week reading both printed and digital versions of newspapers. This notion extends to avid magazine readers as well, where magazine app users also spend an additional hour reading print and digital magazines. Some 10% of Australians stream or download radio content. Internet radio listeners are almost 20% more likely than the Australian average to be heavy radio listeners. And smartphone radio streamers are 50% more likely to be heavy radio listeners. As we can see, technologies such as tablets and smartphones are not at the expense of traditional media. Rather, they simply offer more choice in how our consumers consume their preferred media. Consumers are making their own choices. When turning our attention to TV, the impact of technology and the internet is just as great, with TV facing similar threats and opportunities to print. These come from a number of sources. Today, 10.4 million Australians watch YouTube. 27% have a time-shifting device such as Foxtel iQ. 6% watch ABC iView, an online catch-up TV service. And over 3% have an IPTV service such as T-Box from Telstra. Not to mention that Telstra Big Pond, which controls two of the major sporting codes' online content, AFL and NRL, has 6.3 million visitors. With the majority of Australians already having a home network, all home TVs will soon connect to the internet and other computers and media in the home. Already 5% of Australians access the internet from the TV. 19% say they would like to. Technology early adopters are twice as likely to have connected their TV to the internet. The TV has evolved and now is the entertainment or centre or hub in the lounge room. Because of these opportunities and challenges, the TV is no longer owned or monopolised by broadcasters. However, TV stations have embraced these opportunities by extending their program assets across platforms to provide deeper experience and greater engagement, and ultimately offer more opportunities for advertisers. The rise of reality TV has provided the best opportunity for programmers to integrate TV with the digital universe. TV stations are linking their programs with Facebook, with websites, with apps, with chat rooms, and real-time engagement via a second screen, using technology like our own reactor. The Voice was a good example of this. It is not surprising the cross-media offering was successful, as their audience typically spends more time on the internet and are 30% more likely to have access to a computer tablet, such as an iPad. However, if 60 Minutes were to run a cross-media offering, they would need to consider the fact that their audience is almost 20% less likely to visit social media websites such as Twitter and typically spend less time on the internet compared to the average Australian. The smartphone represents a person's portable media and information hub. It replaces the MP3 player. It is the new internet browser. 31% of smartphone owners read news content on their phone. 38% stream or download radio or music. And 44% of smartphone owners watch video content on their phone. There is no doubt that this portable multimedia device will help shape the media consumption habits now and into the future. What we have clearly seen and shown you today is the fragmentation of media across platforms. The challenge is to understand how and when to best communicate with your audience. Knowing things such as your target market prefers news on their tablet at breakfast time may become an important differentiator for your business. During this presentation, we've talked about social media, traditional media, the mobile communities, online banking and online shopping. Despite the fact that only 32% of Australians notice online advertising and 6% of them click on online ads, businesses are planning to invest more in the internet next year. From our recently launched business survey of 12,000 business decision makers, 63% told us that the internet will be more important to their business in the next 12 months. 41% of these businesses believe mobile will be more important to their business, and 16% believe social media will be more important. Businesses that will prosper from this investment will be those that have clearly defined their target market and understand their social media behaviour, the mobile devices they own, their attitudes to technology adoption and the way they transact online. All the insight and data we have seen today is provided by a single source, which includes our new hybrid online audience measurement methodology. Single Source is a comprehensive research platform that provides you with a decision-making tool for better investments in the digital universe. We would welcome any opportunity to show you how. Thank you for your time today.